Hello and welcome. My name is Donna Freeman, and today we're going to be looking at the chakras and the energetic body as we kind of unpack this and looking specifically at some of the ways that our history, our interactions with others, possibly traumatic events, can impact the emotional body and how we can invite healing by working through the chakras. Okay? So it's kind of the goal. Stick with me and we'll unpack this. It's really an interesting topic. First of all, let's start with the very basics. So what are the chakras? Chakra, the word itself, means a wheel or disc. And so these are spinning wheels of energy at specific spots within the body. Now, the most common version of the chakra system that we adopt within the yoga community is the 7 chakra system. And that's the one that we're going to be looking at today. Now, there are other systems and other ways of looking at it, but this is the most common. All right. So there are bundles of nerves along the spine called the nadis. Okay, so you can see here this map of the nadis. You can see the Pingala and the Ida nadi and the Sushumna going right down the center. Okay. So the Ida is the moon, the female. It's associated with the cooler, more calmer activities. It ends in the left nostril, and it is attached to the right hemisphere of the brain. So if you are familiar with right and left hemispheres of the brain, all of the qualities of the right hemisphere of the brain are the qualities of the Ida nadi. Okay. The Pingala is the opposite. This is the sun, the male, hot, energetic. This ends in the right nostril and is associated with the left hemisphere of the brain. So your logic, your language, your mathematics, those type of things. Okay. The Sushumna is the center channel, goes right up and down the spine. And this is what we often work at awakening through a Kundalini yoga practice. It begins in the Muladhara or the root chakra and goes all the way up. And you can see the areas where all 3 intersect, okay? And at each of these spots, there is a chakra. Okay. Starting at the base, red. So this is your root chakra, Muladhara. This is the area that we look at for your root support. This is your physical identity, your right to have, feelings of survival, of support, safety. It's associated with the sense of smell, the earth element, so that nice grounding, solid feeling. The glands that is associated with it are your adrenals. So your adrenals sit on top of your kidneys, and they're the ones who create adrenaline and cortisol and are your stress hormone response. And so when the root chakra is stable, the adrenals calm down, and when it is endangered, the adrenals kick up, right, and release stress hormones into the body. Okay. On your musical scale, the note C resonates with the root chakra. Okay. Next, we have the sacral chakra, Svadhisthana. It's early in the morning here, and my Sanskrit isn't always great when I'm doing early in the morning things. All right, so the sacral chakra, this is your emotional identity, your right to feel. This is in the hips, okay? And a lot of movement. Water is the element. This is kind of one's own place, your creativity, your passion, your sense of taste. And of course, the gonads and the ovaries, your reproductive organs, are associated with this area of the body. And on the musical scale, it is the note D. Okay, so this is your relationships, things, you're talking about your personal space. Any violations of the body will impact this chakra deeply. Okay, things that have been taken from you without permission, and sexual disturbances and those type of things. That's all through the hips. Moving up the body and up through our chakras, we come to yellow, Manipura. This is our solar plexus chakra. I like to call this the get up and go. We get things done. This is your fire element, solar plexus. It makes sense. So Manipura means lustrous gem. This is your energy and your personal power, your right to act, to do things, any kind of problems that you might have with dominance or timidity, or being timid, right? That may come from this area, or those traits. The sense of sight. This is your pancreas on the musical scale, E, as you can see. So anybody who has had a sense of losing control or abuse of authority, or has been in an imbalance of power in a relationship, this is really going to impact this chakra. Next is the heart chakra, Anahata, beautiful green in your heart. The unstruck sound is what Anahata means. This is all about compassion and renewal. This is your social identity, your right to love and be loved. The sense of touch, right? It's attached from the heart down into the arms, into the hands. So touch and connecting with others, hugs. This is the air element. It's associated with the thymus gland, which is right where the heart is, and the musical scale. It is an F note. So this chakra is really impacted by loss, by lack of love, rejection, feelings of helplessness or aloneness, disillusionment, humility, disappointments. And you also might have some genetic and ancient memories associated with the heart chakra. Right? And that whole idea of epigenetics may come into play in this area, as well as throughout the entire body, but specifically in this area. Oh, wrong way. There we go. That's the right one. Next, our light blue or turquoise is the throat chakra, Vishuddha. This is purity, your self-expression, your communication. This is your creative identity, your right to speak and to hear truth. Okay. So this is your sense of hearing, and we get the hearing element. The element of sound makes sense. Associated with your thyroid gland, of course, right at the throat. And in the musical scale, this is a G. Okay. So this is your idea of self-expression. If there's ever a time or opportunities where you were not able to speak your feelings or had a sense of a lack of nurturing, that would highly impact the throat chakra. Now we get into indigo, our third eye, Ajna. This is your command, your intuitions, your inner wisdom. Okay, the sixth sense. This is the light element. It's kind of that. Hey, I know that this is right, just because I know it's right. You know, the kind of, I have a bright, good idea here. That is your Ajna. It's associated with your pituitary gland, the musical scale, A. Okay, so with the third eye chakra, times of uncertainty and feeling unsafe, environments that you weren't able to trust what you see to be real, those are really going to impact this chakra. And the top here is the crown chakra, Sahasrara, and this is your connection with the divine, inspiration, spirituality, and this diagram has 1,000 petals supposedly and the full Om symbol. This is kind of beyond the senses. So we've worked through each one of the senses as we've come up, and this is now, you know, reaching beyond into space and time and the universe and that connection with all those things. The pineal gland is associated here, and at the musical scale, it would be the note B. So we've gone up the entire scale now. So things that will really impact the crown chakra are times of forced religiosity, maybe times that, or being taught with beliefs that the body or the emotions are bad. Obedience, just strict obedience without questioning will definitely impact the crown chakra. Okay, really rigidity in beliefs. Okay. So that's a pretty quick rundown of the chakra system. And I know many yoga teacher trainings go in a lot more in depth. We do in the Yoga in My School training for teens. It's in that manual, as well as during the ambassador yoga training in the Finding Calm in an Age of Speed unit module. Okay, is all about the chakras, and we go into that. So this is just like setting the stage and showing some ways in which the chakra system can be impacted through our various activities. Right. Now, this is what I find really, really fascinating, is when you can get excesses or deficiencies in each one of these chakras and how they may demonstrate, so that we can be watching for those things and even recognize them in ourselves, and then be able to, the part after this, it's coming, is yoga practices which could help achieve balance. Okay. So the Muladhara, the root chakra, remember it's red. So excesses in this area, being really fixated, hoarding, really stubborn or materialistic, boredom. It's like, oh, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to move. I don't want to feel like getting up off the sofa, that type of thing. Deficiencies might be just that fear of not having enough, that you'll never have enough, that you're spaced out, or that idea of being disassociated from your body, that may mean that you need more root chakra work. Right? And almost any time that there is been a traumatic event or some upheaval in people's lives, even all those little t trauma type things, working with the root chakra really helps people feel stable and balanced and solid. Okay, and from that moment, you can then move into other things. Okay? And this is one reason why a lot of yoga classes begin with either seated or lying positions, right? That you're really rooting and connecting down before you get into movement. So that is tapping into that Muladhara chakra at the very beginning of class. Next, moving up, Svadhisthana is, again, that's your orange in your hips. This is an area that maybe you're feeling a little bit numb or high strung. So those are kind of, the excess. You've got too much. There's no boundaries. You're overly sexual. That type of thing. Very, very emotional or very clingy. The deficiency is you're rigid. You're numb. You're unable to enjoy life. You can't, possibly addictions and overdependence on others may come from this imbalances in this area. Moving on to Manipura. So Manipura is, this is your yellow, your heat, your energy, get things done. So this is perfectionism, being domineering when you've got too much of let's get things done. You might be easily angered, that type of thing. And then the opposite would be deficiencies. So emotionally weak, afraid, self-loathing, lots of feelings of shame in this area. Emotional mistreatment that degrades and dishonors will really impact here. So uncertainty about your personal power, passivity, or a definite need to be right, right? So you have to be right is the excess. The deficiency is you have no idea. You're powerless, so you let everybody else make decisions, right? So those are the two sides of that coin. Moving on to Anahata, which is your heart. Okay, this is green. Remember we talked about that overwhelming rejection or betrayal. This is lots of grief. So if that's happened, if you're processing through those type of things, maybe if there's an excess of that, you're feeling very jealous or selfish, you want everything, highly emotional, reactive. Difficulties with forgiveness, fear of abandonment can also occur here. Or the deficiencies are you're really shy, you're immobile, you're a loner, or you're resentful. So there's a lot going on here when you don't feel as if you have been loved and accepted, and you don't feel that your love and compassion for others is accepted as well. So it's really that two-way street of relationships in the heart chakra. Moving on up, or I guess down the page, but up the chakra system, is Vishuddha. This is your throat chakra. Beautiful light blue color. We talked about being yelled at or lied to or criticized. That's the area here. So if you have an excess of energy in this area, you're very talkative, you're not listening. Remember, it was the hearing is the sense. Maybe you're always interrupting. You don't feel like you're ever being heard, and so you need to talk more. Right? Deficiencies are, again, being shy, unable to speak, unable to say your truth. People who have voice challenges sometimes have throat chakra issues. Fear of speaking assertively, interrupting others, talking without saying much is always an interesting one, and I'm sure that we can all find that in our lives, that we're just speaking for speaking's sake at times. Then we go to Ajna, the third eye chakra. And this is indigo, is between the eyebrows. So too much is lots of nightmares, poor concentration, hallucinations, false views about things, delusions of persecution, really dogmatic beliefs can all be excessive here. And any deficiencies is poor memory or lack of imagination, also a lack of imagining or of remembering the past or imagining the future, being unable to do that, right? And just being insensitive about others' beliefs and their own truth, and they're being able to walk their own way, but being insensitive about that. So that's a little bit of what imbalances in the third eye chakra might look like. And finally, we're getting to Sahasrara, the crown chakra. Right. So this is the top of the head, associated with your spiritual understanding, your selflessness, your inspiration. If you have an excess here, there could be a lot of confusion. You might be narrow-minded. You might love having a guru, someone to teach you and who you can follow and who is the person with all of the answers. And then you don't have to really rely upon your own, right? And then some deficiencies would be hyper-intellectual, really rigid beliefs. You may even have some learning difficulties. There's also, that over-intellectualization. I already said that, sorry, all my notes. Excessive materialism and disdain toward the spiritual, or even an aversion of other faiths so that you're not open to truth in any form that it comes in other than yours. And so those are some ways that we could possibly see the crown chakra being out of balance. So this page is really an important one, and you'll have all of this in the copy of the slides that you can download. Now, let's see if we can move on to the next page, if it will let me do that. For some reason, my computer has frozen right here. Just hang on a second. We will. There. Yay. Okay. So here's a little activity to help us move through the chakras with some visualizations, and sometimes that really helps people to really embody the chakras. So your Muladhara bandha or chakra, if you can think of an elephant in the mud, just that big solid animal moving slowly through the mud. Okay, I've done this with kids, and I get them to actually move in different ways. So imagine you're an elephant in the mud and move your body in that way. Slow and purposeful, heavy feet. Okay. Svadhisthana, imagine that you are a whale in the ocean. coming up, taking a deep breath and diving and cavorting. You can breach and reach, or slap your tail, but that whole idea of movement, of fluidity, and joy in that freedom to move. Manipura. This is your speeding train, going super, super fast. Woo, woo. Right? This is your Manipura chakra. Like I said, it's the one that gets stuff done. Next is Anahata, heart chakra. This is moving the beautiful butterfly from flower to flower to flower. Just sharing the joy going from each beautiful blossom fluttering softly in the garden. Vishuddha, your throat chakra, your kitten meowing, or a lion roaring. And so both of those are ways to express yourself depending on what you're feeling and the situation in which you're in. They would both be appropriate at different times. Ajna, okay, your intuition is your jaguar in the night. You can see in the dark. I love that image. It's a great image for Ajna. And Sahasrara is a bubble, fragile and beautiful. There you go. So moving, that's a wonderful way just to move through those chakras. And I highly encourage you this is a great exercise for anybody as you're teaching the chakras, if you have a really open class with movement, to take them through these visualizations. All right, so now we're going to get into ways that yoga and breathing, yoga postures and pranayama can help to balance. Okay, so your root chakra. The one pose I highly encourage you to do is mountain pose, but really anything with a focus on the feet. All of your standing postures, warrior, triangle, side angle, on and on they go. But when you focus on that connection of the feet, and I've often heard the four corners of the feet or the triangle of the feet, and pressing those down, engaging that, really connecting there. Also, root to rise is another root chakra association cue that is very common. But mountain pose, just that solid, steady nature of it. A breathing technique would be your belly breathing. So really taking your breath down deep into the diaphragm, inhaling and exhaling. Slowing the breath down, steady and calm. So those would be the two primary things, but just if you can keep that idea with root chakra of rooting down, grounding with any part of your body that is in contact with the earth. So this is why, as I said, many yoga classes begin in either seated or reclined meditation. That's why we want to connect with the root chakra first before we get into movement. Your sacral chakra, inviting balance through hip openers. Now, one beautiful one is butterfly. Here we have a picture of a reclined bound angle, Supta Baddha Konasana. But anything that's going to open the hips. So pigeon pose, happy baby. Many of your standing poses are hip openers as well. Goddess, warrior one and warrior two are all hip openers in different ways. Okay, but using and moving through the hips. And one of my favorites in my yin classes is deer pose, where one hip is in external rotation and the other hip is internal rotation, but and then altering that so that you can get into the hips in different ways. And a lot of people have a lot of tension in the hips, and it usually feels really, really good to have a focus on hip opening classes. It's one of the requests that I get very, very often from my adult classes when I open it up to requests. What do you guys want? They're like hip openers. Okay. Because this is our area of creativity, of self-expression, of connection. Okay. Now, a great breathing technique is a circular breathing technique. And so this is where you can imagine the inhale and the exhale being of equal duration and going around a circle, inhaling around the circle, exhaling around the circle. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to be seated crisscross in easy pose, hands on the knees, and to inhale, bring your torso forward, exhale, lean back. Inhale, in forward, exhaling back. So you're creating a circle with your body as you are breathing. And then after a number of rounds in one direction, coming to stillness, and then reversing. So inhaling again, coming forward, but in the other direction, exhaling, leaning back. So creating a circle with the body. Okay? So those are both really nice ways to get into the sacral chakra. Solar plexus. So this is your heat, your core. Any core work will work really well. I have a picture here of chair pose or powerful pose. This is a lovely strengthening posture. You get lots of things going really fast. And but other ones would include boat, plank, and various really creative ways to get into the core, and yoga has tons of those. Any practice that is focusing on your solar plexus, your abdomen, your twists, that type of thing is really going to help to balance this area. The breathing, it would be sun breath. And so this is, you're like with your sun salutations, you have your ujjayi breathing, those type of things that are heat created breath techniques, okay? Versus, right, the belly breathing is a calming breath technique. So your heat creating breath techniques are great here. Right. Heart chakra. All right. Any heart opening posture. So here we have classic cobra. You could be doing sphinx pose, bow pose, a standing camel or camel pose, right? Like so many variations here. Anything that's going to get into the chest and really open it. One of my favorites is a reclined fish. Or a supported fish with a bolster underneath, and then you're laying back over the bolster. Breath work here, breath of joy is a fabulous heart chakra balancing breath work. And so that is, it's sometimes called conductor's breath, but where you're standing and you're swinging your arms in time with your breath, usually 3 inhalations and 1 exhalation. And so you would lift the arms up. Inhale, lift the arms out. Inhale, lift the arms up and overhead. Big inhale, exhale, forward fold, swinging the arms down, and then repeating. Inhale, up, out, up, and forward. Okay, and doing it at a fairly quick pace. And that's breath of joy. And there's all kinds of videos and stuff you can find for all of these breath techniques. Or you can always email me if you have questions. What exactly did you mean by that? I'm more than happy to answer. Next is the throat chakra. Okay, so this is any type of activity that's going to open up the base of the throat, and it might be a slight condensing of the throat. So this, if you think about your Jaladhara Bandha, that throat lock that we sometimes do, or just that awareness of lengthening up the back of the neck and lifting from the base of the skull toward the sky. Which we do, which in a lot of forward folds even. But here I've encouraged you with a seated twist. And I like to become really, really aware in a seated twist of where my head wants to go, not where it should be prescribed in somebody's pose description of where it should go. So here we have our half Lord of the Fishes twist. And she's looking way behind her. Right? And I'll often encourage my students to experiment and to try and see how it feels to look behind, and then to see how it feels to look forward. So that would be at her looking toward her front hand there. And then to go to the place that feels best. That might be anywhere in between, full back and full forward, or in any one of those. And just allowing yourself to ask the question of what feels good for me today, and being open to modifying it to fit your experience. Okay? And this is a great way for you to tune into your truth, which is what this chakra is all about. Okay? The breath work here, an Ujjayi breath, is fabulous because of that sound that it makes, that Darth Vader type sound or ocean wave sound that is typical of an Ujjayi breath. Also, something like Brahmari breath would be fabulous here because of that bumblebee humming type sound that is produced. Okay. Ajna chakra, inviting balance here, is focusing on that area of the third eye. So here we have tree pose. And in tree pose, we generally start in the ground with our roots and then begin to build up, 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 up. And you can build right up to the Ajna chakra. But balancing poses of all types will help this area, will invite balance here, as well as any connection with the third eye to the ground. So that would be something like child's pose, lowering the head to the earth, or maybe stacking the fists and lowering the head to that, or maybe a block, so that type of thing. Also, it's really common to do this in pigeon pose, where you relax down and you do the softened part of pigeon pose and you connect your forehead to the earth, or again to the fists or to a block. Those are great ways to invite balance into the Ajna chakra. For breathing, your alternate nostril breath, or your Nadi Sodhana, is awesome here. Okay, so we're looking at closing and opening the nostrils in a rhythmic pattern. Okay, and creating that balance between the right and left hemispheres of the brain, between the Ida and the Pingala Nadi that we talked about at the very beginning. And now we're into the crown chakra. This is a picture of rabbit pose, so any connection of the crown of the head to the earth. And rabbit pose tends to be available to a lot of people. This is one version of it. There are other versions of rabbit pose that you may know or love to do. I like, if you're a more advanced practitioner or it's within your abilities, working with headstands. With kids, that's not really where we want to go, and that's why I've given you rabbit, because kids love rabbit, this rabbit pose. And I usually do this with kids over the age of 8 and 9. They have enough body awareness then. Alternately, you can even just have people place a hand on the crown of their head and lift up into it, or placing a prop on the crown of their head, such as a block, and having them walk around the room. These are all crown chakra balancing activities. Okay. Also, a number of forward folds are also crown chakra, where you're inviting the crown of the head to come down to the earth. Okay, and that would be the focus if in a forward fold, if you would like it to be a crown chakra activity. Okay. Your breath work is your sipping breath, your sitali. So that's the breathing in with like your pursed lips. You could also do the rolling of the tongue. Some people can't do that, but if you can roll your tongue and then breathe through that, or you can just like purse your lips really small, like around a straw, and breathe in and out that way. And so this is quite a cooling breath, and sometimes will make people's mouths a little bit dry. And so we don't do it for a long time, because you want to respect your body and what feels good. But that is a crown chakra soothing breath technique. All right. There we go. So that is a basic rundown of the chakra system, how deficiencies and excesses might demonstrate in your life or in the lives of your loved ones or your clients, and then some yoga postures and breath techniques and pranayama that will help to balance each of the chakras. Okay. Finally, I'd like to take you through a chakra visualization, and this is found, let me just grab my book here. This is found in our team manual. So the Yoga High School team manual has a lovely chakra visualization included. And so let me just, and as well, it has a fairly extensive chakra chart, which has a lot of the information that I covered in the chakra. There it is. In the chakra summary that we did here, as well as a whole bunch more like the seed sounds, etc. Okay, so I encourage you to sit back, to close your eyes, and to just relax for the next 5 or so minutes. Allow your breath to soften and elongate. Invite your body to sink into the earth and to release all tension. And visualize a beam of light that starts at the crown of your head and extends to the soles of your feet. Fill your body with beautiful light. Now focus your attention to the first energy center, the root chakra, located at the base of your spine. This chakra is associated with the color red, the sense of smell, the first note of the musical scale C, and the sense of survival. Visualize this center as a red rotating sphere of energy at the base of your spine, pulling positive energy from the universe into your body. Focus your attention on the second energy center, the sacral chakra, located below your navel. This chakra is associated with the color orange, the sense of taste, the second note of the musical scale, D, and feelings of creativity. Visualize this center as an orange rotating sphere of energy, pulling in positive energy from the universe into your body. Feel yourself becoming connected to feelings of creativity and harmonious relationships. Focus your attention on the third energy center, the solar plexus chakra, located in between your navel and your chest. This chakra is associated with the color yellow, the sense of sight, the third note of the musical scale, E, and feelings of vitality and determination. Visualize this center as a yellow rotating sphere of energy, pulling in positive energy from the universe into your body. Feel yourself becoming connected to feelings of personal power and self-control. Focus your attention on the fourth energy center, the heart chakra, located at your heart center. This chakra is associated with the color green, the sense of taste, the fourth note of the musical scale F, and feelings of touch and compassion. Visualize this center as a green rotating sphere of energy, pulling in positive energy from the universe into your body. Feel yourself increasing in love and compassion for all things. Focus your attention on the fifth energy center, the throat chakra, located at the base of your throat. This chakra is associated with the color blue, the sense of hearing, the fifth note of the musical scale G, and sound, speech, and communication. Visualize this center as a blue rotating sphere of energy, pulling in positive energy from the universe into your body. Feel yourself becoming connected to feelings of self-expression and communication. Focus your attention on the sixth energy center, the third eye chakra, located in the center of your forehead. This chakra is associated with the color indigo, your intuition, the sixth note of the musical scale A, and feeling of insight. Visualize this center as an indigo rotating sphere of energy, pulling in positive energy from the universe into your body. Feel yourself becoming connected to your inner wisdom and intuition. Focus your attention on the seventh energy center, the crown chakra, located at the top of your head. This chakra is associated with the color purple, the seventh note of the musical scale B, and thoughts, knowledge, and inspiration. Visualize this center as a purple rotating sphere of energy, pulling in positive energy from the universe into your body. Feel yourself becoming connected to your higher self and feelings of enlightenment. Now visualize a line running through all 7 chakras, connecting them all together, bringing you a great feeling of balance and well-being. Surround yourself with a rainbow of healing light. You have created a healing energy within your body, which will continue to heal your body long after this session has ended. Visualize your chakras closing one at a time, from the base chakra to your crown chakra. Every chakra is now fully energized and balanced. You feel confident and creative. You accept and love yourself as you are. You find yourself more compassionate to yourself and others. You have developed incredible energy. You have strong self-belief and are full of knowledge and wisdom. You have a greater understanding of life, an awareness of the world, and your infinite power. And when you are ready, gently flutter the eyes open. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of the chakras of our emotional body and how we can promote healing through movement and through breath as we work with this system. It's been a pleasure. I highly encourage you to follow on Instagram, on Facebook, and Pinterest, and all those lovely social media areas where I share generously all kinds of tips and techniques and tools that you can use in your life to achieve greater health, wellness, and wholeness. Have a wonderful day. My name is Donna Freeman. This has been a production with Yoga in My School. Namaste.